The United Nations General Assembly on April 7th suspended Russia from Human Rights Council in the light of killings in Ukraine's Bucha. Evidence of civilian killings in Bucha and other towns around Kyiv, which Ukraine has blamed on Russian troops, had shocked the world and prompted calls for new sanctions on Russia. The Russia have denied the allegations, though. Of the 193 members of the Assembly, 93 voted in favor of suspension as proposed by the United States, while 24 voted against and 58 abstained. Ukraine said it was grateful for the decision to suspend Russia from the UN Human Rights Council, saying war criminals should not have representation in the body. But in an unexpected move, India abstained again from voting in the United Nations General Assembly on a draft resolution to suspend Russia from Human Rights Council, underscoring her neutral stand. India has taken this decision in the light of civilian killings in Ukraine's Bucha that triggered shock and horror across the world. Citing reasons for its decision, India said she did so for reasons of both substance and process. Now, let me read out the statement made by Indian envoy to the United Nations T.S. Tirumurthy at the United Nations General Assembly on Thursday. Since the inception of the Ukrainian conflict, India has stood for peace, dialogue and diplomacy. We believe that no solution can be arrived at by shedding blood and at the cost of innocent lives. If India has chosen any side, it is the side of peace, and it is for an immediate end to violence. We continue to remain deeply concerned at the worsening situation and reiterate our call for end to all hostilities. When innocent human lives are at stake, diplomacy must prevail as the only viable option. India has so far taken a neutral stand on the war in Ukraine, which is in its second month. Prime Minister Narendra Modi had earlier said that India's needs are connected to both Russia and Ukraine. But the country is on the side of peace and hopes that all problems get resolved through dialogue. Since the war broke out, India has abstained on 9 occasions on procedural votes and draft resolutions in the UN Security Council, the General Assembly and the Human Rights Council that censored the Russian aggression against Ukraine. Earlier this week, India issued its strongest statement so far at the UN Security Council, condemning the civilian killings in Ukraine's Bucha and supported the call for an independent investigation. Referring to that, India said that recent reports of civilian killings in Bucha were deeply disturbing. India unequivocally condemned these killings and supported the call for an independent investigation. The only time a member state was suspended from the Geneva-based Human Rights Council was Libya in 2011. Thursday's draft resolution against Russia cited gross and systematic violations and abuses of human rights and violations of international humanitarian law committed by Kremlin. Now, by abstaining from voting, India has proved to the world that she is neither in US camp nor Russian camp. Here, abstention didn't matter. Only those who were present and voted counted. Abstention was as good as voting against Russia. Russia reminded all members about this, but still India abstained from voting. This may be considered as an unfriendly gesture by Russia. However, it was better than voting against Russia.